What's good, YouTube? I came across a video from somebody I'm clearly not subscribed to. Might want to subscribe to him after I check this one out because he got some wrestling topics on his channel that are different. Finally, because I've been looking for different wrestling content to get us over this WrestleMania build sour that we are on. And this one is from Wrestling Revival. What if Dean Ambrose returned to WWE? And it caught my attention because I don't have an answer. I mean, I do have some thoughts on what it is that I would like, but I genuinely don't have an answer for what would happen if John Moxley or Dean Ambrose came back to WWE. Like, what would they actually do with him? Because he's clearly a different person. I mean, he doesn't have hair anymore. There's that. There's no longer any hair with him. He's a whole lot more violent than he was, I would say, even coming out of CZW. John Moxley, Dean Ambrose, has completely lost his mind. But I will say it is a presence that I would definitely welcome to WWE TV. Something I would love to see, and I would just hope that they don't. I mean, you don't water him down, but don't let him go crazy, right? We need John Moxley within reason because we don't want him. We want him to live. We want him to continue to live, especially on television. We don't need him. However, like in WWE, we need violence back. We need anguish back. We need a little bit uneasiness back. We need to feel that unpredictability that wrestling once held near and dear, especially in WWE. It's something that we're sorely missing. So I think it's something that John Moxley would bring to the table. But in the sense of WWE, y'all know how they do. So let's see what the Wrestling Revival have. I am definitely going to be watching this at 1.25 speed. Not saying that he's a slow talker, such as myself, but he's a new talker to me, and I don't know how it is, so we're just going to speed him up.
The possibility of Dean Ambrose making a return to WWE is one of the most intriguing topics in professional wrestling. Ever since he departed the company in 2019, Ambrose, now known as John Moxley, in AEW, has completely reinvented himself. He has carved out a reputation as one of the most intense, hard-hitting wrestlers in the industry, proving his worth outside the WWE system. If he were to make a shocking return, it would send waves throughout the wrestling world, altering the landscape of
And we're going to make this bigger.
WWE and possibly AEW at the same time. The biggest question surrounding a Dean Ambrose return is how it would happen. WWE has been known for pulling off major surprises, especially in the modern era where former stars have returned in dramatic fashion. One of the most effective ways to bring him back would be through an unexpected appearance, possibly at a Royal Rumble event.
Okay, first thing, unexpected appearance, right? Is that even possible in wrestling today, to do something that's unexpected? If he leaves from AEW, we're going to know it. If he's coming to WWE, we're going to know it. However, there is a caveat in which you can pull this off. You have him be booked for independent dates. He's already been in a plethora of different wrestling companies or feds or indie startups and things like that. He's been sharing the wealth. But he's had a really good mainstay over in Japan. So what I would do to keep this thing as a secret or to keep this thing as a surprise for WWE, I would have him just book up a bunch of dates, right? And I would have him try to do a little bit of a Japan tour, right? Just give me a little Japan tour. This way we could kind of, as best as we could, knock people off the sense of when he will have an opening of availability within that schedule, because it'll look like, man, this guy's really busy. He's doing everything. He's everywhere. And then you sneak him into this Royal Rumble that we're talking about. Now, I don't know if it will be the Riyadh Royal Rumble, because I think that's the next Royal Rumble. I might be mistaken, but I think it's the next Royal Rumble. So it wouldn't work then, because I'm sure he'll still be under contract. But if we were to do something like that, that's how we will pull it off for me.
Or during a major storyline. Imagine a scenario where a top WWE star is facing insurmountable odds, and suddenly, Ambrose's music hits. The crowd would erupt, instantly
Crowd would go stupid, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. Crowd would go stupid.
Recognizing the significance of the moment, WWE thrives on these kinds of moments. And Ambrose returning would undoubtedly be one of the biggest in years. One of the biggest factors in a potential return would be the terms of his comeback. Would he return as the same unpredictable, chaotic character that made him famous? Or would WWE attempt to mold him into something different? The reason he left...
That right there is what I'm concerned about. Well, not the blood. Can we get blood? A little bit more? Not like we don't need like Jimmy Uso levels of blood on a weekly basis. But like, you know what I mean? Like, let me get blood every other week. Let me get blood every other week. I want to feel a little uncomfortable. Let me get John Cena and JBL blood. That's a lot of blood.
WWE in the first place was dissatisfaction with creative direction. He was reportedly unhappy with how his character was handled, particularly with the comedic elements forced into his persona. WWE has changed.
He did a good job with the comedy stuff, though. But he got out of there before they could hold him with it for too long, because they wouldn't have changed. They would have kept going comedy with him. So him getting out of there was the right move for him to make.
Changed a lot since his departure. And with Triple H now having more influence over creative decisions.
Oh boy. What's your thoughts on Triple H?
There could be a better environment for him to thrive creatively. The impact of his return would be monumental for both the fans and the locker room. WWE has seen a resurgence in the past couple of years, with major names returning, and adding Ambrose to that mix would further elevate the roster. It would also be interesting.
Wait, who was that?
With major names returning.
Who was that? Oh, Kevin Owens.
And adding Ambrose to that mix would further elevate the roster. It would also be interesting to see how he would interact with the current stars of WWE, especially those he has history with. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and other former Shield associates would undoubtedly.
What other Shield associates? Kurt Angle? There was other Shield associates? CM Punk?
Be key figures in his return story. Would he reunite with them, or would he target them in a personal feud? The possibilities are endless. Another key factor is whether he would return as a face or a heel. Given his history and character work in AEW, he has shown that he can excel in either role. If WWE wanted to shake things up,
you gotta tweener him. You gotta tweener him. Someone said this in chat, and it is something that you can pull off. Moxley would be like the only way that you could sort of kind of have an Austin-like persona. You can pull off an Austin-like persona with a Jon Moxley in WWE. Would they do it as a different?
They could bring him back as a ruthless villain, possibly aligning him with Paul Heyman in a shocking twist. A Heyman-Ambrose alliance could create an entirely new dynamic.
I think that if WWE had... I'm pausing a lot on him. I apologize. I just get thoughts. I talk. I think. I do stuff. I apologize. I'm going to let him rock. After I get this thought out, I'm going to let him rock for at least 3 minutes straight. WWE, Death Riders. I think that WWE would have did a much better job with the Death Riders than AEW is doing. I think because like they... Apparently, from what I'm hearing, they're just letting them roam free and just destroy any credibility, popularity, any buzz, any hype. They're killing off everything in AEW, and it's with no regard. I think that with WWE, you can have the same gimmick, you can have the same storyline, the same angle, but know how to reel it in which other people can benefit from it. I mean, look, bro. When you show me you could do the bloodline for as many years as you did it, and it's over, and it's still over to this day when there's no real bloodline anymore, just like they did with the Shield, WWE could do a really good job with the Death Riders. So Jon Moxley as a heel in WWE, it could work. Am I giving WWE credit? 3 minutes, uninterrupted. Let's go.
Especially if Reigns were still in power as the tribal chief. This could set up a dramatic Shield-related conflict, with Rollins potentially caught in the middle. Speaking of the Shield, the nostalgia factor would play a huge role in a potential return. Fans have long wished for a true reunion of the group, but circumstances have made it difficult. With Reigns dominating as a top heel and Rollins as a major babyface, adding Ambrose into the mix could lead to a multi-layered story with unpredictable turns. Would they come together once again to fight a common enemy, or would their different paths lead them into a war against each other? WWE thrives on these long-term narratives, and a Shield reunion turned feud could be one of the most compelling stories in modern wrestling. Outside of the Shield dynamic, Ambrose's return would open the door for fresh rivalries. Superstars like Cody Rhodes, Gunther, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn would be excellent opponents. WWE has done a great job elevating talent recently, and having Ambrose back in the mix would allow for dream matches that fans have never seen before. His style of wrestling has evolved since his departure, and his gritty, no-nonsense persona could be a perfect fit against WWE's top stars. One of the biggest challenges of his return would be how it affects his AEW status. Jon Moxley has been one of AEW's foundational pieces, and his departure would be a significant loss for Tony Khan's company. However, the wrestling industry is unpredictable, and there have been numerous instances where wrestlers leave for another promotion and eventually return. It could change the balance of power between the two companies. AEW has already lost big names like Cody Rhodes to WWE, and losing Moxley would be another major hit. Another aspect to consider is whether Ambrose himself would even want to return. He has been vocal about his dissatisfaction with WWE's structure, and has enjoyed a level of creative freedom in AEW that he never had before. However, wrestlers evolve, and sometimes unfinished business can bring them back to where they started. If WWE made the right offer, both financially and creatively, he might be tempted to make a comeback. The wrestling industry is full of surprises, and we have seen wrestlers return to companies they once swore they'd never work for again. Timing would also play a crucial role. If he were to return, WWE would likely want to build the moment for maximum impact. The Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, or even a major Saudi Arabia event could serve as the stage for his reappearance. WWE understands the value of spectacle, and a return of this magnitude would need to be executed perfectly. If done right, it could become one of the defining moments of the modern era. His return could also impact WWE's overall storytelling direction. WWE has been focusing heavily on long-term storytelling, particularly with the Bloodline saga.
I think that was 3 minutes. Oh my God, did they drop the ball on this right here? Oh my, this was supposed to be Dean Ambrose's debut. Taking on or getting into some sort of promo battle with Mick Foley. For those of you who remember when Dean Ambrose was debuting, all of this right here that was happening was before he debuted on the main roster. He would pop up at places where Mick Foley was and just get in his face, argue him down, tell him that he's the oh my God, what a time. What a time this was right here. This had the internet buzzing back then because the storyline was so perfect. The storyline was Mick Foley, because of you and your career, you just pretty much being a career crash out. You've created someone like me who can't get to that level because I've idolized and styled my career based off of what I've seen you do. You've shortened my life. You've shortened my career. And all for what? Jumping off of roofs and backyards? Crashing out. He wanted to blame the person that he had become on Mick Foley. And it was, oh my God. Like, people didn't even know who Jon Moxley was at that time. I mean, the hardcores knew who he was. This wasn't my introduction to. No, I had already knew who he was by this point because I remember seeing the promos in CZW, especially the one where he wanted to eat the championship. Put that promo. I've played that for a long time. This right here was amazing. And what was that he had said about WWE creating stuff like helping legitimately push stuff? What was that he said back here? Bro, rewind it. I was losing it. But I said I would let him talk uninterrupted for 3 minutes. I think I might have been 11 seconds short of that goal. But this right here was amazing work, and we never, ever got to see it because Mick Foley said, drop it, I don't want to do the angle. Even though because he was retired, he wasn't wrestling anymore, and it would have led to him having to do a wrestling match. It sucks that we didn't get it, but also at the same time, Mick Foley turning it down propelled Jon Moxley into a different stratosphere because they went a different angle with him. So it worked out for him.
Has been focusing heavily.
Let me know if y'all remember this angle from way back before I think he was in FCW at the time. Let me know if y'all remember this where he would just pop up on Mick Foley. Classic stuff. If you've never seen it, seek it out. Go find it. Oh man, it was so good.
on long-term storytelling, particularly with the Bloodline saga. Bringing Ambrose back could intertwine with those major narratives, adding another layer to the ongoing stories. If the Bloodline is still a dominant force, Ambrose could be positioned as the one to challenge them in a way that no one else has. Merchandising and business implications.
That would be a good, because like the way that Seth Rollins is always in Roman Reigns' head. However, Seth Rollins can't beat Roman like on some straight up, but he could beat him on the mentals. Dean Ambrose's layer that he would add, it would be like that physical, violent part that he could bring out of both of them. Like each of them bring a different element out of each other. And I will say that with Dean Ambrose not being there, it always does fit like there's always going to be that missing piece, and it's going to always feel like there's a missing piece there. And man, it sucks that we may never get it, bro. But if we do, oh, I hope it's I hope it's within the next 3 years, because Roman is already like 1 foot out the door. I hope that we get it like please within the next 2 to 3 years. 2 if we're lucky.
Cannot be ignored either. Dean Ambrose was a major
There's so much mileage they could get out of it. Fuck.
merchandise seller during his time in WWE, and his return would undoubtedly lead to a
Whoa,
resurgence
what the
in
hell?
shirt sales.
Oh, it's not me. What the hell?
Action figures, and other memorabilia.
All right, we back.
WWE knows how to capitalize on returns.
Hee!
Ambrose's reemergence could lead to a marketing boom. Special edition shirts, throwback Shield gear.
I don't care about the merch. I don't care.
Bring his more violent side into the company.
There we go.
Or would they attempt to
R.I.P. to Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper, man. God damn it.
tone it down? Has shifted towards a more mature product lately, so there's a chance they could let him incorporate elements of his AEW persona while still maintaining WWE's overall presentation style.
It's not, and that was the other thing that he was saying. He kept saying like, got his start and where it all began. John Moxley did not begin in WWE. And now he's saying his AEW persona, which stems from his persona on the indies, but I feel you.
This could make for some brutal and unique matches, especially if he engages in feuds with wrestlers like Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, or Kevin Owens.
Some of the B-roll that he be putting in here is like, just doesn't match at all with what he's talking about. Like, why do we have Kane here?
Especially if he engages in feuds with wrestlers like Drew
And Jerry Lawler.
McIntyre, Sheamus.
Like, I understand we're trying to fill the B-roll with the 7-second clips so that we don't get copyrighted. I get it. I know how it works. I don't have the patience to find that many clips to pull a video all together. And you do. God bless you. But God, some of these clips just don't match up.
Or Kevin Owens, who are known for their physical
But he put the work in, man. Respectfully, put the work in.
styles. The long-term impact of his return would go beyond just his character. It would send a message to other wrestlers that
This is why I need an editor. If I had an editor that could like put clips together, I could put out so many videos. I would probably up my video production to like 10 a week, at least 10 a week. I would shoot for 14.
WWE is a viable place to work, even for those who have left under difficult circumstances. It could also encourage other AEW stars to consider making the jump.
Oh wait,
the
me
message to
talking,
other
I don't know what
wrestlers,
he was saying.
The long-term impact of his return would go beyond just his character. It would send a message to other wrestlers that WWE is a viable place to work.
And not only that, but if Tony Khan would ever get somebody to like help him with creative and with the books, then people from WWE that feel like they're not flourishing with what they want to do with their art can go over to AEW. I mean, that's what competition is for. But Tony Khan got too big-headed too fast, man. But they've been around longer than most companies, so God bless them. But damn it, man. It used to be a good alternative for other wrestlers to go to, and now people don't want to go there because it's like, you know, it's either they lost the plot or, I mean, it's a good place for high flyers and cruiserweights, but if you want to be a big-time star, AEW is not the place to go to. And that's why they say, hey, you come back over to WWE. It's nice now. Vince is gone. Yay! Well, Triple H is going to book you to hell.
Even for those who have left under difficult circumstances. It could also encourage other AEW stars to consider making the jump, leading to more cross-company movement. WWE has been making major signings lately, and if Ambrose were to return, it could set the stage for even more surprises. Another major reason WWE had issues with Dean Ambrose was his resistance to conforming to the company's strict creative process. WWE has long been known for scripting promos word for word, leaving little room for improvisation.
That's not a thing anymore. With everybody.
Ambrose, however, thrived in a more spontaneous environment. He felt that the rigid scripts made his character feel inauthentic and forced. Many times he voiced his frustration.
I feel like that sometimes, too. Well, most of the time. Like if I'm reading a script, like if I type out a script that I do for a video and I'm reading it, like I'll try to do the lines over and over so that I could like have my own my own personality in the audio. But and I'll to me when I'm doing it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's me. But then when I'm hearing it back, I'm like, I am clearly reading. And most people don't even know it, like when I'm reading. No, people don't even realize when I'm reading. But I hear it and I'm like, oh no, because like I would have made a joke in between these lines right here. And that's another thing about me. I joke a lot. I see people in the comments that take me way too seriously. I am joking. I'm joking about 75% of the time. But I do really, really, really dislike Canadian wrestlers.
Frustration with being handed promos that he believed didn't align with his character's personality. This led to frequent clashes with WWE's creative.
That's not a lie.
Team and higher-ups, including Vince McMahon himself.
Why is Vince's lips so pink? Who booty he was eating?
WWE also struggled to fully capitalize on Ambrose's unpredictable nature. While fans loved his wild, unhinged persona, WWE seemed unsure of how to book him in a way that balanced chaos with credibility. His feuds often lacked consistency, and there were stretches where he was relegated to comedic skits that did little to elevate his character.
See, like that would have been a perfect time to have B-roll with him wearing a sombrero and him being with James Ellsworth and stuff like that, but whatever.
One example of this was the infamous hot dog cart segment, where Ambrose attacked Seth Rollins with condiments.
Why not put B-roll of the segment that you...
was meant to showcase his eccentric.
I'm sorry, Revival. I apologize. I greatly apologize. I know it's hard to find clips and then just have storage of all these clips. And then when you got your storage of these clips, you got to find them within the storage. I get it. I apologize, but
personality. Many believed it made him look more like a joke than a legitimate main eventer.
And that was the other thing about his joke character. All right, I'm gonna go. How long we got here? I'm gonna go 2 minutes uninterrupted after this. That was the other thing with his character. They actually did book him as a credible champion because he wasn't losing, even though they had him as a comedy figure, which was weird. Like it was supposed to be a layer, but it's like they went overboard with him being just a character or a comedy guy while still keeping him as a credible champion. It was a really, really weird way of booking him. Especially if that's just not who he wanted to be. With that being not who he wanted to be and him still pulling it off as well as he did. Dean Ambrose, and I'm not talking about John Moxley. Dean Ambrose was an excellent, excellent entertainer. Excellent character. As far as being able to go into a character that they wanted him to be, even though it was the furthest thing away from who he actually was. He did an excellent job.
Another factor that contributed to WWE's strained relationship with Ambrose was their inability to see him as the face of the company. While he had all the tools, charisma, in-ring ability.
He was the face of Smack. God damn it, I said 2 minutes uninterrupted.
And fan support. WWE continuously pushed Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins over him. Despite being the most organically popular member of the Shield at certain points, Ambrose was rarely given the same level of protection in booking.
He was on the same level as Seth.
He would often lose feuds in ways that hurt his credibility, such as his program with Brock Lesnar leading into WrestleMania 32. Ambrose was hoping for a brutal, career-defining match against Lesnar. But instead, the bout ended up being a short and underwhelming contest where Ambrose barely got any offense in. His frustration with WWE's booking decisions only grew as time went on. One of the breaking points for him was the botched heel turn following Roman Reigns' leukemia announcement in 2018. WWE saw this as an opportunity to generate nuclear heat, but the execution was heavily criticized.
Oh, that was so bad.
Fans found it distasteful that Ambrose was exploiting Reigns' real-life health issues for storyline purposes. Moreover, his heel persona felt unnatural, as he was given bizarre gimmicks like wearing a gas mask and ranting about how dirty the fans were.
That was so
Ambrose
bad.
himself later revealed that he hated this character direction, but WWE forced him to go through with it. Injuries also played a role in WWE souring on Ambrose.
That was, I'm sorry, I lied. I'm interrupting. That was a really good use of B-roll, because you hint at him not liking the character, right, that they had given him. And he talked about it a little on the Stone Cold podcast. He hinted at it there. He talked about it in his book. But the Stone Cold interview is the thing that started to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not hold him back, but the Stone Cold interview was like the writing on the wall for I got to get out of here for him. And his use of Stone Cold B-roll here is perfect, because he's saying this was the thing that unveiled all of these problems without even saying Stone Cold's name. That is excellent use of B-roll. I'm sorry, I'm like YouTube editor mindset bag right now. I shouldn't be. This is a freaking reaction.
Fans were. Ambrose himself later revealed that he hated this character direction, but WWE forced him to go through with it. Injuries also played a role in WWE souring on Ambrose. He suffered a severe triceps injury in 2017, which kept him out of action for months. When he returned, he looked physically better than ever, but WWE seemed hesitant to push him back into the main event scene. Instead of making a triumphant comeback, he was placed in mid-card feuds that lacked the significance of his earlier runs. WWE has been known to be cautious with wrestlers who have suffered serious injuries, but Ambrose felt like he was being held back rather than protected. Ultimately, the question of whether Dean Ambrose will return to WWE remains uncertain. Wrestling is unpredictable, and what seems impossible today
Moxley
could become
is
reality
all gas,
tomorrow.
no brakes type
If the
of
right
guy.
conditions are met, and if WWE is willing to give him the creative freedom he desires, then a shocking return could be on the horizon. Fans would embrace it, WWE would benefit, and the wrestling world as a whole would witness a moment that could change the industry for years to come.
Absolutely. Wait, what the? You cut yourself off?
Benefit, and the wrestling world as a whole would witness a moment that could change the industry for years to come.
Bro, I wasn't finished. You got me to the crescendo. We pulsating. We almost there. Don't cut me off. Don't stop. There was more meat on the bone. I got a lot left in the tank. What do you do that for? Oh. Now, see, there's some videos here that I could react to. I kind of like what's going on here. We got a few. What's this NXT has a huge problem thing? You might want to check that out, even though it's 21 minutes long. If I were to do a video on that, it'd be like an hour. So I'm going to leave that one alone. How the Young Bucks, John Moxley, Swerve Strickland got everyone. Use commas, pal. Are you paying $20,000 for? No. There's my reaction to that video. Just no. Why WWE always hated Dean Ambrose. Okay. All right. I'll check it out. How long is that? 10 minutes. See, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I know my minutes. Yeah, I know my videos don't be under 10 minutes. CM Punk needs to win that WrestleMania 41. I might check out a few of this guy's shit, man. He got some titles here that I'm interested in. And who's this guy? I've never seen him before. So because of that, I got to give him a look, and I definitely got to do a reaction to him. And Murph's is really good with his content. I just found out about him about a couple of weeks ago. All right, that's all for me on this one. I'll give you like an outro thing that you can click on. I'm not gonna leave you with blue balls. Thanks for watching, and please stay in good health, love yourself, tell someone you love them, even if it's a repeat offense, and click on one of these two videos.